I'm the Marketing and Communications Manager of the JSSE, and we'll be getting the program going right away. We're going to be calling on Dr. Henley Morgan, Chairman of the Selection Committee, to offer a word of prayer for us. Where's Dr. Morgan?
Just to make sure I have everybody's attention, clap your hands. I tell you what you're clapping for. That's for one of our 3 studio bands from Trenchtown. Would you applaud them and encourage them? Continue in the way. Choose right over wrong. Prosperity over poverty. The Lord will enable you. Let us pray. Eternal Father, bless our land. Guard us with thy mighty hand. We beseech you, Father, in the bounty of your mercies, to hear and answer our plea for a better Jamaica, a more prosperous Jamaica, a more cohesive and harmonious society. We give ourselves in service to that cause. The institutions of Jamaica, and particularly at this moment, the Jamaica Stock Exchange and its offspring, the Jamaica Social Stock Exchange. We gather here in your presence in a celebratory mood to recognize and acknowledge the first entity to be listed. Father, we know that you are the provider of all resources, and so we confirm and affirm the success that has already been foreordained. And we give you all praise, honor, and glory. Amen.
Amen. All right, we're here as a part of history to witness the first listing on the Jamaica Social Stock Exchange, that of DEFCAN. Isn't that wonderful? All right. Well, the applause this morning is very weak. Can we put our hands together for DEFCAN this morning? Oh, all right. Oh, it's a big applause. Very good, very good. Mrs. Street Forrest, our managing director, has asked me to apologize for her absence. She's not well this morning. However, Ms. Andrea Kelly, the general manager of the Jamaica Central Securities Depository and JSSE Trustee Services Limited, will be doing the welcome for us this morning. Put your hands together for her, please.
Thank you, Neville. Good morning, everyone. I must first apologize on behalf of Mrs. Forrest. I know this project and the entire Social Stock Exchange is very important to her, and she tried as much as possible to be here this morning, but unfortunately she's unable to make it. Master of Ceremony, Mr. Neville Ellis, Marketing Manager, JSE. Honorable Olivia Bobbs-Grange, Minister of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sports. Honorable Floyd Green, I'm not seeing him now, Minister of State in the Ministry of Industry, Commerce, and Agriculture Fisheries. Mrs. Donna Parchment Brown, Ombudsperson. Members of the MSME PIOJ from the Department of the Ministry of Industry, Commerce and Agriculture. Head of the MSC Alliance, Mr. Donovan Wignall. Ambassador Velasquez, did I get that correct? EU Ambassador. Her Excellency Laurie Peters, High Commissioner of Canada. Mr. Ozan Civilmil, is that correct? Okay. Country Manager, World Bank. Mrs. Tyler Lynn, Honorable Consul General Thailand, ODJP LLD, and Honorable Chair of the NCB Foundation and JSSE Ambassador. Mrs. Marilyn Goldin, former Custos of St. Andrew. Mr. Andrew Pierman, Deputy Chairman, NCB Foundation. Mr. Gordon Swaby, Director, NCB Foundation. Mr. Stuart Reed, Director, NCB Foundation, Mrs. Nadine Matthews-Blair, CEO, NCB Foundation, Ms. Tracy Ann Spence, Chief Operations Officer, NCB Capital Market, other members of the NCB team, Mr. Blake Widmer, Founder and CEO of DEFCON, Mrs. Tashi Widmer, Executive Officer, Executive Officer, DEFCON. I'm having problems with the name this morning, excuse me. Other members of the DEFCON team, and on the other 4 projects, members of other foundations, Mr. Julian Meir, Chairman of the JSSE, Mr. Neville Ying, Chairman of the Jamaica Social Stock Exchange, Dr. Henley Morgan, Chairman of the Selection and Listing Committee, other members of the Selection and Listing Committee of the JSSE, Mr. Andre Tolo, Chief Regulatory Officer, RMOD, other members of the JSSET, members of the media, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, a pleasant good morning. It is with honor, a sense of pleasure, and real deep emotions that the Jamaica Stock Exchange, and more importantly, the Jamaica Social Stock Exchange, welcome you to this historic listing of DEFCON Coffee and the Jamaica Social Stock Exchange. Another first for the Jamaica Stock Exchange. Today is extra special for us as the listing of DEFCON represents the first of its kind in Jamaica or anywhere else in the Caribbean. By extension, it is the first listing ceremony of a social project on the Social Stock Exchange. We wish to just pause for a moment and exhale. Exhale, because although it has been only a year since we launched this platform, it has certainly been a journey and a half for everyone who has been so drawn to the JSSE and felt committed to ensuring that this works for everyone, for Jamaica, for the social, as well as the financial sector. I take this opportunity to thank each person, great and small, for any contribution made to get us to this point. However, please indulge me in acknowledging the boards of the JSSE and Listing and Standards Committee who were willing to put their professional capital and time on an idea. Round of applause, please. Nothing is born or thrive unless, as individuals, we can coalesce around an idea and give it the necessary support to grow. These members have surely done so. While we have received some support from many persons in the diaspora and locally, we would not stand here today to list DEFCON if we did not have the support of NCB Foundation and NCB Capital Markets. Every idea requires champions in order to blossom and grow, and NCB and NCB Foundation were truly champions in assisting the JSSE in realizing its dream that soon there would be at least one project that was fully funded. Here we are today with DEFCON being that project. Round of applause for DEFCON. We believe that this action by NCB will provide the catalyst for more corporates, foundations, and Jamaicans to access the JSSE platform or directly support a market whose directors have promised that the JSSE will be fair, efficient, and transparent while providing the platform for mobilizing social capital and building sustainability. Let me recognize our JSSE ambassador, Mrs. Tyler Lynn, who has provided tremendous support to the JSSE since graciously accepting this extremely important role. The question will be asked as to what listing means. It means that DEFCON, having successfully raised approximately $7.5 million in capital, the company is now fully funded and will be admitted to the JSSE's listing board and will now be able to access the funds raised. However, The journey has just begun and will now take the company in a post-listing environment. In this environment, there will be the disbursement of funds to the entity to execute on the approved programs, the process of reporting and monitoring, which is a remit of both DEFCON and the JSSE respectively, the assignment of a project officer to the project, and an assessment of the social impact of the project. It is said that uneasy is ahead that wears the crown. We know that beginning today, there will be additional scrutiny of the JSSE and the DEFCON. The JSSE takes this seriously as we also embark on the second phase of the journey. Being the first is also very important for DEFCON, as others will be looking on to see how this program is managed and how responsible and responsive this company is to the social investors. Our social investors in the diaspora have a keen interest in Jamaica and want to see the social fabric strengthened, and I believe they are ready to assist in this area. The following excerpt from the Global Jamaican Diaspora Investment Survey done in Miami, Fort Lauderdale, New York, and London between May 5th and August 31st, 2019 provides insight into the predispositions, the concerns, and the hopes of the diaspora as it relates to the positive impact they can have on the social sector. The finding states, the Jamaica Stock Exchange new social impact exchange can sanction a pipeline of private sector investment opportunities that are deemed to have a social impact and which the diaspora has expressed deep interest. As we continue to build out our social sector, we want to express our gratitude to the diaspora for their interest and support so far, and to also indicate to them that we are looking forward to their continued and invaluable support in strengthening the social fabric of our country at large and the JSSE in particular. We have only just begun. And as much rides so much rides on this project, the JSSE has seen the need to improve our delivery to our social sector as well as set the foundation for growth by the sector. IDB, through the SDB lab, has done it again. Can we have a round of applause for the IDB, please? We wish to take this opportunity to again express our thanks to them for agreeing to partner with us to develop the social infrastructure through the project, Innovating Social Sector Financing, of which DEFCON will be a beneficiary. I close with a quote from Robert Putman, which I believe underpins the Jamaica Social Stock Exchange's consciousness. He says, "Community connectedness is not just about warm, fuzzy tales of civic triumph. In measurable and well-documented ways, social capital makes an enormous difference in our lives. Social capital makes us smarter, healthier, safer, richer, and better able to govern a just and stable democracy. That is what I believe everyone here today craves." Finally, we again congratulate DEFCON on the listing today and thank you all for being a part of this memorable occasion. We look forward to having you all on board as we continue the journey of building our country and empowering our people. Welcome all, and our doors are always open to you.
Thank you very much, Andrea, for that welcome. All right, we're moving on. I'm going to be asking Honorable Oliver Grange, Minister. Probably let us deliberate. Just say Babsy. Can you put your hands together for Minister, please? Thank you very much.
Isn't that easy? Babsy. Everybody says Babsy. Prime Minister will be speaking to my colleague ministers. Minister Samuda, Minister Green, Minister and Babsy. Good morning, everyone. I first want to acknowledge the presence of the EU Ambassador and the High Commissioner of Canada, my good friends. I want to call them the Bobsy twins. You see them everywhere together. The Babsy twins, right. And just so good to see your face in the place. Mrs. Talia Lynn, Professor Ying, and the list could go on and on and on, but I should just say, good morning, family. Good morning. I want to commend DEFCAN Coffee for this momentous achievement. Please give them a big round of applause. This achievement sees DEFCAN Coffee truly achieving their vision of empowering deaf people to thrive in their careers, as well as providing a platform for the broader society to recognize the inherent worth and abilities of all people. DEFCAN must be commended for their commitment to social enterprise and to their community by extension. They exist to inspire deaf youth to believe in their talents and abilities, engage their passions and interests, and foster creative, positive thought in a healthy community that builds each other up and equip them for life, work, and family. Ladies and gentlemen, this mandate has been accomplished through this most successful coffee venture, renowned for its superior product, talented, personable staff, and its overall enjoyable experience. DEFCAN Coffee is truly an embodiment of and symbolism of the Jamaican flag. Black representing the coffee beans and brewed coffee, strength and creativity of the people which has allowed them to overcome difficulties. Gold for the wealth of the country and the golden sunshine, which is necessary for growth of a robust coffee crop and flavor. And green for the lush vegetation of the island, which also speaks to the agricultural conditions needed to grow coffee. And I love the color green. So does Floyd, and I love Floyd green. Last but not least is the hope embodied in this enterprise, which includes youth and socio-economic development and growth. As it relates to socio-economic development, I must speak to the Jamaica Stock Exchange's value proposition of facilitating socio-economic development and developing capacity in the social and creative sectors. DEFCAN is the first of its kind listed on the stock exchange, but joins a few other social and creative enterprises such as Pulse Investment, Main Event, iCreate, among others. Yet none of these companies have the particular value proposition of empowering those with what society views as a disability and making it a catalyst for change and inclusion that DEFCAN does. This intentional vision by Choose Life inspired the Jamaica Stock Exchange to take the bold step towards establishing the Jamaica Social Stock Exchange, an initiative that was launched by the Prime Minister in January 2019 and which has the wholehearted endorsement of the government of Jamaica and the people of Jamaica. Ladies and gentlemen, the Jamaica Social Stock Exchange provides an opportunity for us to engage the diaspora in a number of areas to achieve balanced economic and social development in the creative industries. while providing opportunities for listed companies on the main and junior markets to maximize the value of their corporate social responsibility by investing in these companies and investing in development. I and the team at my ministry are committed to working with the JSSE on local development and thereby boosting our social investment capital. I'm really excited about what is being done. Overall, what the JSSE strives to encourage is support from all stakeholders that will make a meaningful contribution for our nation, with Jamaica setting yet another international standard in balancing economic and social development along the lines of the Jamaica Social Stock Exchange. The JSSE's focus is on people, is on partnership and prosperity, dimensions of sustainable development, and this ethos augurs well for the transparent selection of social projects in Jamaica that can attract financial, professional, and technical support. Together with continued engagement of the Ministry of Culture, Gender, Entertainment, and Sport, I see a serious growth factor at play here, which can yield great economic gains and which can be facilitated through the evolution from non-profit to profit-generating social entities called social enterprises. Finally, ladies and gentlemen, it is timely that this listing of DEFCON is happening during Reggae Month. And I really wanted to bust a tune right here. But I must behave myself, right? I'm sure there are numbers of culture and entertainment activities that reside within the scope of the social sector, but lack the formalization necessary to scale up with projects like the Alpha Institute and the Trenchtown-based jamming studio and tour, which are two such prototypes to be funded under the JSSE umbrella. And I also want to congratulate them for this achievement. I know that both entities will yield positive returns through their engagement with the JSSE, and I look forward to celebrating that achievement with them at that time. I urge businesses to actively engage with the Jamaica Social Stock Exchange in order to build our social enterprises and build the creative industries, the fastest growing industries in the world. The orange economy is something that we are all looking forward to benefiting from. I noticed everybody gasped because I said the orange. What you don't know is that I've changed it to call it the tangerine economy. But there are also possibilities, ladies and gentlemen, for gender-based projects. I could not leave without mentioning that, because I'm not only responsible for entertainment and culture, but I'm also responsible for gender. And so there are possibilities for gender-based projects to come under the ambit of the JSSE and benefit from its offerings. So again, I urge entrepreneurs involved in gender-centered social enterprises to ensure they participate in the JSSE's groundbreaking programs. Now, I noticed on the program here, just above my name, it said brief remarks. And just above Honorable Floyd Green's name, it said brief remarks. I just ignore the others that followed our names, right? So, right above the politician's name, we are asked to make brief remarks. So at this point, I will just conclude my comments and say congrats once again to DEFCON Coffee and kudos to the JSSE for their investment in Jamaica's national development. God bless you all.
one of the persons who has allowed this to happen this morning. Mrs. Lynn, Chairperson of NCB Foundation, Honorable Counsel General, she was instrumental and still is instrumental in what is happening this morning. Can you put your hands together for her?
Minister Babsy Grange, Minister of State Floyd Green, Sister EU Ambassador Gosha Wasiluska, Sister Canadian High Commissioner Laurie Peters, whose countries have funded DEFCAN in the past, chairs of the JSE and the JSSE, Dr. Ying, is Julian here? Yes? Julian Mir and Dr. Ying. JSE MD, Marlene. I haven't seen Marlene. Where's Marlene? Oh, well, tell her I acknowledged her. MC, Neville Ellis. Dr. Henley, I missed your blessing. I need a blessing. Bad. But important invited private sector guests, the stars today, DEFCAN, other impactful social enterprises who are here, media friends, good morning. I'm sorry I was late, but I didn't miss the minister's speech. I only missed the important blessing, but the traffic is horrible. I have to acknowledge my NCB colleagues. Is NCB, anybody here from Cap Markets? Oh yes, okay, because Tracy, I think you need to come up here and stand with me, because Tracy Spence is the COO of NCB Cap Markets. Oh, hi Martin Rickman, the head of Hope. So I needed Tracy here because NCB Foundation didn't give all the money. NCB Foundation gave some, and NCB Cap Markets gave some, so we're a team. So I'm ecstatic as ambassador of the Jamaica Social Stock Exchange, as a new title, to be here for this historic listing, the first ever of a social enterprise, DEFCAN Coffee. And Minister Grange said all the lovely things about them. And we're going to have a pop-up after, yes? Yes, everybody, we're going to have a pop-up coffee bar after. And I haven't had my coffee yet, that's why I'm stumbling. But I'm even more ecstatic that the largest financial institution in Jamaica, the NCG Group, on which board I serve, is truly living its mantra today, to do good as we do well. Got it? So NCB Foundation, which I also have the privilege to chair, benefits from 1% of the group's profits. And today, my colleagues and I from NCB Foundation, NCB Cap Markets, so NCB Foundation contributed 4.5 million, and NCB Cap Markets contributed 3 million. So together, that was 7.5 million. So, you know, every mickle makes a muckle, and as I said, the EU and the Canadian Embassy, Canadian High Commissioner through Canada First. And also, I have to mention that the Honorable Prime Minister contributed $400,000 to the Social Stock Exchange. And this came from his Positive Jamaica Foundation. So, you know, I congratulate the Stock Exchange, Jamaica Stock Exchange, and the Prime Minister for pushing this happening today. So, kudos to DEFCAN Coffee. They support entrepreneurship and empowerment in the deaf community. And, you know, I need to learn to sign. I think at my old age, I know that I can clap. But, but how did they get here today? It was an evolving value chain. And I just want to talk about that for 1 second, because the founder, Blake Widmer, successfully executed something that we need to adopt, adapt, and refine. And we don't do it, we won't do it block upon block, but we'll do it community upon community. Is that the, but if we start here, that's how we can do it. And you know, I had a thought of how we can get it to work together. Project Hope, which is headed by Colonel Martin Rickman. They take at-risk, unattached youth. They work first of all on their mindset, their attitude. And they get them to understand that their lives have a meaning, right? They train them to develop a skill. And then the next step is internship or apprenticeship. And that's where we can all help. Private sector companies, anybody who's here today who will help to do that, if you just take some of these young people, step up, hire these interns, mentor them. And then these interns who now have a purpose, they either become permanent employees, which has happened at Island Grill. I mean, he has trained them so well because attitude is the biggest component of being in a job, right? They become permanent employees, or they can now enter the HEART TVET program, because you know you still have to have certain qualifications before you can get into HEART TVET. So they advance HEART TVET. We have people who are qualified in our organizations. Whenever we fund anybody, you know, and they ask us for money to help train, we say, as long as it's a HEART program and the people you're training end up with some kind of certificate. Everybody knows how important those certificates are. And they have different levels. So you progress through those levels, and you can go into tertiary. Or if you don't go into tertiary, then City and NCB Foundation, we're gonna start another program. We're gonna open a computer lab in partnership with MICO and the OAS. And some can do that instead of going on to tertiary. So you have STEM, it's called STEAM now because arts is added to it. So you know, everybody should have the opportunity to be trained in something. You could become, like DEFCAN, you could become a social entrepreneur, you could develop, and then you could list on the social stock exchange. So it's a value chain. That's what we're building towards, that everybody has some function in this whole value chain. So I'm throwing out to private sector here that this is what we're looking for. So congratulations, big up to DEFCAN Coffee. We're happy to be part of your journey, to have you culminate here today in this historic listing. Thank you everybody for listening to me. Have a productive day. You want to say hi?
Hi.
Jamaica Social is being presented to us with Trenchtown, and we can utilize discipline ourselves within the music. Big up Miss P, Miss Parchment, Mama Pia Parler, and so she has seen us on our journey. And I give thanks for the Jamaica Social Stock Exchange. Your presence is most appreciated by us. We are a product of the Jamaica Social, and this band is called the Rose of Papa. And we also have the right band, which Dave Primetime Green. Yes. Yes. So we are proud of Jamaica Studio out of Trenchtown. Give thanks again to the Jamaica Social Stock Exchange for being a part of what we do. Give thanks. This is what we have to offer to the world. Yes, yes. My name is Superman from Trenchtown. And then I got the opportunity from that to go to the studio and put our creative right to certain things, you understand? Creative, you understand? And this is got straight through. So let's go. There's southern trees.
very much to our Master of Ceremony. After that performance, it seems like I should be singing. Either that or I should be Rasta. Since I'm the Rasta man, shalom. But I really want to congratulate the Jamins group. They sound amazing. And the lead singer in the first song has a really powerful voice. Just want to make you know that. Really well done. All right, so Minister Babsy Grange, our Minister of Culture, Gender, Entertainment and Sport, Mrs. Marlene Street Forest, and other members of the Jamaica Stock Exchange team. Of course, members from the IDB, Mr. Blake Widmer, our founder and CEO of DEFCAN, other members of the DEFCAN team, Ms. Nora Blake, manager of the Jamaica Social Stock Exchange, Mr. Donovan Thomas, our founder and CEO of Choose Life International, other special invited guests, of course. I see the EU ambassador and the High Commissioner, members from Canada, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen. Good morning, everybody. Good morning. How do I sign good morning?
The Jamaican way is morning.
Okay. I am very, very happy to be here this morning. For this, the very first listing on the Jamaica Social Stock Exchange, and for the enlistee, DEFCAN Coffee. What a momentous occasion this is. Let me first take the opportunity to commend the management and staff of the Jamaica Social Stock Exchange and the Jamaica Stock Exchange. And the fact that the Social Stock Exchange has been created to boost social enterprises and create social benefits for Jamaicans. As you would have heard, the JSSE was launched a year ago, and it aims to raise $121.4 million for 5 groupings: Missionaries of the Poor, under the Rebuild Good Shepherd Project, Praise Jamaica Foundation, DEFCAN, Choose Life International, Alpha Boys School, and of course, as you just heard, Jamin Music Studio, Inner City Renewal Project. We must recognize the tremendous mission of DEFCAN. I just love this group. They have been inspiring youth in the deaf community and fostering creative, positive thoughts that truly equip our deaf youth for life, work, and family. And they've done it through a very creative way, a coffee venture, known by customers for a great product, talented staff, and an enjoyable experience. And if you've ever visited, you know it is a tremendous experience with absolutely great coffee. And I'm not biased, but the best one is in Treasure Beach. Right at Jake's in Treasure Beach. If you haven't been, you should go. You know, go for the coffee, stay for Treasure Beach. But they have really done tremendously well to train young deaf people to become baristas so that they can be gainfully employed at these coffee shops across the island. I am truly proud of your achievements. And I want to just thank you for allowing our deaf youth to recognize that it is possible, that indeed deaf can. So now, we're seeing some of the fruits of your labor. You are the first enlistee with the support of $7.5 million, as you have heard, from the National Commercial Bank Foundation and also from the NCB Capital Markets. And of course, I'm pleased to say that our Prime Minister gave a check of $400,000. I think that is wonderful news from his Positive Jamaica Foundation. But there is a bigger picture. As a government, we recognize that social enterprises are indispensable to achieving not just mere growth, but broad-based inclusive growth, which supports the attainment of several specific goals under our National Development Plan. The Ministry of Industry, Commerce, Agriculture and Fisheries recognize how important it is, the social enterprise sector, especially in social value creation and social cohesion. And we took a bold step to ensure that in our updated MSME policy, that we included an entire chapter on social value created through business models. And that has started a process where we have begun to pay much more regard to the social enterprise. In fact, we formed a social enterprise working group, which is chaired by the PIOJ and MICAF. And we have formed this to implement that aspect of the policy that speaks to social enterprise. We've been going around the island, we've been consulting, because there are certain things that we need to get done in the social enterprise space. The aim is to ensure that we can provide funding for our social enterprises, because they, in fact, have a tremendous impact on society. So as we see more social enterprises being able to generate and transform commercially viable ideas into solid businesses that provide high-quality goods and services for the market, while clearly generating adequate and consistent levels of profit and income, we believe we need more young people to get into social enterprises. We believe that is the model that can really move our communities forward. And we believe it's an excellent model, especially for rural Jamaica. And I have a bias for rural Jamaica. So as we move forward in this area, our hopes as a government is to create a viable legal and operational framework for social enterprise formalization. We have already drafted the national definition for social enterprises. We've already put in place a code of ethics for social enterprises. We have put together a criteria for social enterprises and also core values for the sector. And clearly we've developed proposed benefits that can flow from this sector. As I said, our SEWG, our working group, undertook a nationwide consultative initiative to validate these efforts. Now we're preparing the final report of those consultations, and we want to prepare a concept document and a submission to Cabinet to pursue legal status for social enterprises. We believe that is the next important step. So, as you are aware, the listen today is made possible because of donations by well-thinking Jamaicans. However, we envision a longer-term goal. And I say long-term, but we would love to achieve it in the medium term. And that is a framework where our social enterprises can trade stock openly on the stock exchange. We believe that has to be the next step. Because the reality, a number of these models will not be able to attract regular funding. And our stock exchange has shown that they are able to provide, as Minister Grange highlighted, funding for areas that would normally be left out in the cold, like our creative industries. We want to see our social enterprises to be able to trade stocks. You know, I woke up this morning feeling very, very happy, very reflective, and very thankful. Because 4 years ago, my life took a tremendous turn. And if I were able at that time to see into the future and to say, what would you want to be associated with 4 years after this momentous change, I don't think I could have planned it any better. Because you see, 4 years ago, one of my dreams came true. And that dream was to represent the people of Southwest St. Elizabeth. 4 years ago today, at this time, I was very nervous. And I was on the road trying to hope that the people would give me a chance. But as I reflected on that, and the fact that the people were able to help me achieve my dreams so I could help them achieve their dreams, I reflect on the fact that the social stock exchange is really about bringing dreams to reality. DEFCAN had a dream to put young deaf people to work. And the social stock exchange recognizes that unless there's partnership, unless people are willing to come together and to believe in the dreams of others, then all our dreams won't come true. Today we're participating in bringing dreams to life. And I just want to say thank you DEFCAN.
It is good to have other person's dream come true, and this morning, DEFCAN's dream will come true. All right, we're going to be asking Professor Ying, the chairman of the JSSE, and just before I invite him to come along, just want to acknowledge Hubie and Jean Lord Chin, because they were instrumental in the DEFCAN's journey. So can you put your hands together for them, please?
As the Chinese proverbs say, a long journey begins, a long journey of 1,000 miles begins with the first step. And this morning, we have made that first step in this long journey for the impact of social development in our country. I say that because this morning is made possible by the combination of Ying and Lin. Myself as chairman, with some Chinese roots, and Thalia as chairman of the NCB Foundation. And we'll tell you a little more about them. I've heard a lot about them before. The other Oriental proverb that came to mind this morning as I woke up is that a vision without action is a daydream. And so the Jamaica Social Stock Exchange did not want to have a daydream. So what it did was to create 4 value propositions that would drive action on that vision. The first one, you heard the ministers mention, is to assist Jamaica to achieve a balance between economic growth and social development. And as a result of that, last year, the Prime Minister launched the Jamaica Social Stock Exchange. He returned this year and did 2 things. One, he gave his personal contribution of $400,000, Jamaican. And he also encouraged the country and all companies in Jamaica to support this effort called the Jamaica Social Stock Exchange. We met recently with Minister Grange, and if you know Babsy very well, she wants now the whole of the Jamaica Social Stock Exchange to be the creative industries. So I have to be holding her now because I said, Babsy, we have other things besides creative industries. But she has come on board, and the EU ambassador is here, and I'll speak a little about the combination of both of them shortly. But thank you, Babsy, for your ministry's drive, and I'll speak a little more about that. Minister Green, we listen very attentively to what you have to say because the trajectory on which we want to take these projects are as follows. We want to take them from social enterprises to social business enterprises, and then to bring them to a stage where they can be listed on the Junior Stock Exchange. The legislation that you are contemplating, we want you to hurry because our success, it's going to be a critical success factor for us to deliver that second part of the trajectory, which is to transfer them from social enterprises to social business enterprises to enterprises which can now attract equity capital on the stock market. So we'll be following your ministry very carefully, and I hope you'll have a chance to speak in the budget debate and mention that you have completed the legislation and that is on its road. The second proposition we put forward was that the Jamaica Social Stock Exchange will enable companies to maximize their corporate social responsibility. And the first company that took it seriously was our top company, our best practices awards for the last 2 years, which is NCB. And so, Thalia, I thank the foundation as well as the capital market section of NCB. You have set the pace, and we invite the other companies, especially listed one on the stock exchange, to follow suit. The third proposition we had was to give the diaspora a chance to make a meaningful contribution to the social development of Jamaica. And recently, right in this room, we had a letter of intent signed between the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and the Jamaica Social Stock Exchange for the Northeast USA, which is our largest section of our diaspora, to provide support for the JSSE. So today is just a follow-up to a series of events that we have been having. The fourth value proposition we have is that we want international development institutions to come on board and assist us. And now comes the EU ambassador. She has kindly offered to host on the 4th of April a dinner at her house. It's a big house, big lawn. And she's going to combine with Babsy. Because what we're going to have is Jamin will provide the reggae music, Alpha will provide ska, and Babsy will provide headliners, some of the top artists, and we won't tell you who yet. Still working on coffee. Not the one you're drinking. But knowing Babsy, she's going to deliver. And so those two persons are going to combine, and I'm glad the Canadian High Commissioner is here, because next week, the 5th of March, we will be hosting the diplomatic corps to bring all the embassies and consulates on board and invite them to be part of this. So this morning you can see that we are putting all our 4 value propositions in action. So our vision will not be a daydream. So this morning I feel very thankful for NCB to allow us to have the first listing. Neville, I don't know, the ministers asked if we're going to ring the bell. I know every listing you ring the bell, but I'll have to defer to the chairman of the Jamaica Stock Exchange. So John, when you speak, you can speak to that, okay? Ladies and gentlemen, this is a very happy occasion. Thanks to NCB for making it happen. And we wish DEFCON all the good luck. And we look forward to the other 4 projects back in this room to be listed later. Thank you.
DEFCON. And I'm going to be calling the Widmer to come, Blake and Tasha, yes, to come forward. Can you just come forward for me to list DEFCON on the board of the JSSE? All right, ladies and gentlemen, help me to welcome our chairman, Mr. Julian Mayer, chairman of the Jamaica Stock Exchange. He will give us some brief remarks and hand over the listing certificate to DEFCAN.
So, you know, there's always only one first. And this listing certificate memorializes DEFCAN as being the first project listed on the Jamaica Social Stock Exchange. This is an important day for social enterprise, and I'm very happy to look around and see some of the donor agencies and see some of the social enterprises here represented. Like we see the players from Rise Life Management that impact tens of thousands across the country. This partnership between the Jamaica Stock Exchange, the Jamaica Social Stock Exchange, and Social Enterprise of Jamaica, and of course, the contributors who are typically not seen, but the contributors getting the type of coverage that they're able to achieve today changes the value of contributing to social enterprises. And I am absolutely sure that the context that we're speaking of this of 1 of 5, is doing a disservice to the potential of the Social Stock Exchange. That list will be filled very soon, and many in need will find the benefit of being the 2nd, the 3rd, and the 25th to be listed on the Social Stock Exchange. It is my pleasure, Mr. Wilman, to pass to you and the DEFCAN team this certificate. You come on here. The certificate for being the first listed entity on the Jamaica initiative. Where was that? Next time you guys put on their instructions. So it's our pleasure to present you with this listing certificate. First listed entity, DEFCAN, the first listed entity on the Jamaica Social Stock Exchange. Congratulations. Congratulations to the entire team.
Very small. It started with a few people that are in this room. Carlene Dawson. She heard us on Roots FM. We got invited by somebody that was at Roots FM. Carlisle went into the studio and made a frappuccino in the studio. And Carlene heard it and contacted them and said, hey, I'm from the Digiplay Foundation. We don't know about this. We'd like to support. Ross Shield came to the school a few weeks later and did a newspaper article on Carlisle and his talent as a barista. The list continues to grow. We met Jean Lowry Chin. She gave us our first opportunity for a partnership cafe where our staff helped serve coffee inside of her cafe at Phoenix Central. From there, it just continued to grow. And so without the many partners that we have standing in this room, we wouldn't be where we are today. As Minister Green mentioned, the best comes from St. Bess. And Clark was a coffee farmer in the community of Ridge in the Top Hill district of St. Elizabeth. And Clark was the coffee farmer that first inspired our students 5 years ago to want to learn about coffee, because his passion and his pride as a deaf coffee farmer was what inspired them to want to learn about coffee. And 5 years later, we're going back to our roots. And that's what this Jamaica Social Stock Exchange project is all about, is going back to our roots of coffee farmers, of reinvesting back into agriculture and growing our coffee farm that's at the Knockpatrick School of Caribbean Christian Center for the Deaf in Mandeville. So we're excited to see our small pilot farm of 1.5 acres triple in size. We're going to 5 acres. We'll be able to procure the equipment that's necessary for processing the coffee, and we'll continue to grow not only through the employment in agriculture, but then having our own supply of beans that can be roasted by deaf young people, that can be brewed by deaf young people, and can be served to happy customers. So thank you all so much for being here. We appreciate the support, and pray God's blessings on you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Blake, and I know you're going to be serving coffee today, right? So persons can really enjoy their coffee. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you all. Thanks to NCBA Foundation for their kind donation, for all the presenters this morning. Pastor for praying for us. And for all those who attended this morning, we really appreciate your presence. And we're just going to give DEFCAN another round of applause. Very good. We have refreshment to our left and in the back there, so you can enjoy yourself for the rest of the morning. Thank you very much on behalf of the Jamaica Stock Exchange.